Hello, the internet of the internet. Welcome back to another One Piece video. And in this video, we are going to power scale how strong is Roa Noa Zoro. How strong is the right hand man to Luffy, the Yonko, the future king of the pirate? How strong is the pirate hunter, the king of hell, Zoro? In this video, we will dive into hate and toe deep into this video post, and we are going to talk about and we are going to power scale how strong is Zoro. So, will Zoro be a Yonko commander level? Will he be a Yonko level? Will he be an admiral level? Will he be a commander level? Well, in this video, you guys will find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please like the video and please subscribe. Let's talk about his biggest feat, and his biggest feat come from Wano when Zoro the face Big Mom and Kaido at the same time. But to be fair though, Zoro did had help. Luffy was there, Law was there, Killer and Kid was there to help Zoro, and Zoro was part of this group to take down Big Mom and Kaido on the rooftop. And let's say from this big fight, this massive fight, Zoro got one of his base durability feat, and that is when Big Mom and Kaido did done a combination, a combined attack where Big Mom and Kaido they use a name attack and they combine it together to do a use freaking attack on Zoro. And what has Zoro done? Zoro just stood still and he took it on the chin. Zoro took all of the blast, and Zoro was near death, but it's not dead though. So Zoro did tank a combined Yonko attack, and Zoro was, not still standing, but Zoro was still alive, even though we heard that Zoro broke every bone of his body when he took that attack. But to be fair, Zoro he's still alive. He took an attack from Kaido and Big Mom from the same time. And at the same time, he took both attacks, and Zoro is still alive. So that is Zoro's biggest feat. And in that same fight, Zoro did score Kaido. He did make Kaido bleed. And the reason why that's a massive, 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 feat is that to be able to hurt Kaido, you need to have good Conqueror's Haki. And not even Luffy at the start, before Gear 5, before awakening his King's Haki, Luffy could not hurt Kaido at all. Bounce Man, Snake Man could not hurt Kaido, and we've seen that you have to attack Kaido's inner side to actually hurt him. But the fact that Zoro was strong enough to cut Kaido is a big feat, and the only person to cut Kaido was Oden, the same Oden that is technically a right-hand man. I mean, not a right-hand man because Marco is Whitebeard's right-hand man. But in my honest opinion, I feel like Oden was Whitebeard's real first commander. Then Marco took over. Just saying. So the fact that Oden, the same man that is from the same generation of Rose of Whitebeard, could hurt Kaido. He was the only person to cut and to score Kaido, and Zoro being the second person to be able to cut and to score Kaido is a massive feat. So Zoro tanking two attacks from Yonko. Zoro cutting a Yonko, breaking every bone in his body. Then later on, facing Kaido's right hand man King and defeating King. And Zoro is a very smart fighter. The fact that Zoro could learn from King in a short amount of time, figuring out how King is so durable but sometimes so fast. He had to figure out when the fire is high, his defense is high and he's slow. But when the fire is, like there's no fire on his back, he's way faster, but it's very easy to cut him. So the fact that Zoro did figure that out, and Rob Lucci, Kaku, and Luffy, when they fought against Seraphins, against Ace Hawk, and Ace Bear, when they fought against them, Luffy, Kaku, and Rob Lucci did not figure that out. It took Zoro to have to tell them how to fight this, race, and that says a lot because Kaku and Rob Lucci, they are facing the fighters. They are CP0 Memo. When they were born, they were trained. They have been trained their whole life to be good fighters and they are very skilled fighters, and they could not figure out how to fight them. And even Luffy, even though he's dumb, Luffy's a very smart fighter. The fact that he can come up with creative ideas and learn how to defeat Crocodile by using his own blood, figuring out that liquid can hurt Crocodile. The fact that Luffy can figure that out, but he couldn't, figure out the race and how to fight them, and Zoro have to tell them. It says a lot about how smart Zoro is. And defeating King is his biggest win of the day. Cutting Kaido, hurting Kaido, taking like taking a combined attack from Big Mom and Kaido. And I cannot keep saying that because that's the most impressive durability feat that we have seen in the story. And I can't lie, no other durability feat can come close to that. Maybe Kaido and Big Mom, but generally I don't see other people taking a better not endurance, but durability feat than Zoro by that double attack. But let's continue. And in Egghead Island, Zoro declares with Saint Saturn, he declares with Saint Ethan, and I'm pretty sure he declares, I think that's only two that he declares with. Okay, let's focus on those two fights because Saint Saturn and Saint Ethan, they are probably commander level. They're definitely higher than a commander level. And at the moment, we can't really power scale the five elders and the ghosts because they're quite difficult to power scale. So I will leave Saint Ethan and Saint Saturn out of this picture because we don't know how strong they are. But when we learn how strong they are, then maybe we can come back to this point. But for now, let's leave those stuff out because we can't power scale those two and then try to power scale Zoro because there's not enough information about them. But there's one character that we have a lot of information and a character that have a lot of feats under his belt. And then in the same arc in Egghead Island, he lost to Zoro clean, and that person is Rob Lucci. So let's talk about Rob Lucci's feat. He is awakened Defudizo. He is awakened. He fought against Gale 5 and he's still alive. Rob Lucci is a smart fighter. He's a strong fighter. And early in this year, I had to make my top 25 strongest One Piece character. And Rob Lucci is in my top 25. Rob Lucci is probably one of the fastest character. Probably one of the strongest. Not the strongest, but he's up there in the top 30s, top 25. So Rob Lucci is not a character that you can play around with because Luffy has to go to Gear 5 to be able to defeat Rob Lucci, and even though Rob Lucci is awakened, by the way, Zoro did defeat Rob Lucci clean. And it was very impressive how Zoro the kinda one-shot Rob Lucci, but to be fair though, Rob Lucci just fought against Luffy in Gear 5 for a while. Then he have like a break, then he fought against Zoro. So Rob Lucci was still probably affected by his last fight against Luffy. He was probably still tired, his endurance, his durability still not at his peak. And Rob Lucci was probably weaker in that moment when he fought against Zoro than when he fought against Luffy, because when he fought against Luffy he was at 100%. But now against Zoro he's not at 100% that I believe. So Zoro did one-shot a weaker version of Rob Lucci, but to be fair though, that Rob Lucci was in his awakened form. And it says a lot that Zoro can one-shot a character in his awakened form. To be fair though, once again, I have to say this, I don't think Rob Lucci was at 100% of full power. Let's continue. And let's talk about his Haki, because Zoro, in my honest opinion, Zoro got a very underrated Haki. And I don't see a lot of people talking about how good Zoro's Haki is, but let's talk about it. Zoro he has all three types of Haki: Armor Haki, Obeysan Haki, and Commerce Haki. But at the moment, his Commerce Haki is quite weak. He can't use Commerce Haki himself yet. But Emma has advanced Commerce Haki, which Zoro can use that. I can't lie, I find it weird that Zoro cannot use Commerce Haki by his own willingly. Like sometimes he can use it, but Zoro don't notice it because it's quite weak. But when it comes to Emma, Emma has advanced strongest hockey, and Emma can cut through almost anything. And Emma was the same sword that Zoro used to cut Kaido. So Emma have advanced strongest hockey. Let's move to his Obesan hockey. Zoro has a decent Obesan hockey, but his main hockey that he uses is Omon hockey. And we can see that Zoro the train mostly with Omon hockey with under Mihawk. And Zoro the learn real hockey doing one. So Zoro have advanced Hoki, advanced Hoki real, and then you have decent Obesan hockey. Which I find it very underrated that Zoro has amazing pool and as Hoki have Rio, but people still in my opinion they still not looking how amazing his hockey is because it's very underrated when it comes to his hockey. Strong enough to cut Kaido, to hurt Kaido, strong enough to hurt Kin, because Kin is a very powerful race, and that race is seem like is one of the most endurance races of all time. The fact that Zoro can cut through Kaido, can cut through Kin says a lot about his Rio and his Hoki. Yeah. And Zoro's speed. Let's talk about Zoro's speed. Zoro is a very speedy man. Zoro is a very strong man. Endurance, durability. Zoro's base feats is his physical strength. His physical attacks is his biggest, not biggest, but is his ace in his sieve. And what I'm trying to say, Zoro, he is a swordman, right? And we can see that Zoro is bird for physical stuff. His physical stats is through the roof. Zoro got amazing endurance, durability, speed, and fighting IQ. So physically, Zoro is through the roof. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't see a lot of different commanders defeating Zoro. And by the way, Zoro was trained by the world's strongest swordman, so his swordmanship is even more better than most of the One Piece verse. And I can't lie, I believe Zoro is in the top 3 pure swordmen today. Top 3. Like, if you take away, if you put a sword, like every swordman / swordwoman in a room, and they can't use Haki, they can't use the devil fruit, and they can't use other stuff. They can only use their swordmanship and the swordman skills to fight each other. I feel like Zoro is top 3 in the verse. I feel like Zoro is a better swordman than Shanks. Sword skills, I think Zoro is stronger. Sword skills. But when you add in Haki and all of those other stuff, Shanks will stomp out Zoro. And that's why I feel like with Mihawk is the number 1 sword man. And pure sword skills, Mihawk would take down anybody. And I feel like Zoro is in the same boat. He is top 3, just pure sword skills. He's top 3. And that's why I feel like not a lot of people can defeat Zoro. Zoro is an animal. And Zoro does not have, a dead fruit, but Zoro has amazing Haki. Amazing Haki. He's not on the level of a Mihawk, a Kaido, a Shanks, a Prime Viper, a Big Mom, but Zoro's Haki is not something where you can off at because Zoro hit like a mother trucker. So, but where would I put Zoro in what, power scaling do I put Zoro? Maybe Pirate King? Hell no. Maybe Yonko? No. But maybe even First Commander? No. I feel like Zoro is Admiral level. And what do I mean by Admiral level when it comes to the power scaling? We all know there's Pirate King, then you have Yonko, then you have Admirals, then you have First Commanders. I feel like Admirals are very strong. And some of the Admirals is Yonko level, like Aka Inu and Aka Inu and Kujon. Those two, in my eyes, they are the only 2 Admirals that is Yonko level. But Kizaru, Fusitora, Greenball, Kizaru, they are at upper Admiral level. But Zoro, why do I put Zoro in Admiral level? I feel like Zoro is way stronger than your First Commander. Zoro can stomp out Karkara. Zoro can stomp out King. Zoro would have problems against Ben Beckman, but I believe Ben Beckman is an Admiral level. And that I'm putting Zoro at Admiral level because I feel like Zoro can fight against a Kizaru and put on a good fight. I believe Zoro can put on a good fight against Fusitora, against Green Ball, and Zoro would have a good fight. It won't be a one-way train destruction for the Admirals. And that's why I'm putting Zoro at Admiral level because I feel like he's way stronger than the first game than the first commanders like the Marco, like the King, like the Queen, not Queen, sorry, the King, the Karakuri, the Marco of the world. But he's weaker than a Luffy. He's weaker than a Big Mom. He's weaker than a Kaido. So that's why I'm putting by Admiral level. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Zoro is Admiral level.